Welcome to this week's video from Real Life Homesteaders. I'm calling it Muddy Boots and Barn Fun. So there's a lot of mud on the homestead. Things are starting to thaw. We're in the 30s today, which is absolutely beautiful compared to some of the other temperatures we've experienced. But it means that there is mud, more mud, and more mud. But honestly, we will take that over the frigid temperatures, the ice, and more ice and snow and the cold winds that we had last week. So I will be taking you out with me to the barn, seeing what's been going on there, some of the changes that we have made, and kind of sharing some of the ways that we have found to improve what we have learned and been doing. So we are super excited. Today we are getting the south side of our barn enclosed, and you can see here, this is the first part that they've done, and then they're starting to work their way across. We built the barn originally with the east and west side enclosed and found that that just left too much wind in the winter, but we wanted to find a way to be able to better ventilate in the summer. So we've continued to change the barn and work on the layout, and that's part of really homesteading. So we're getting a people door in the larger sliding door so we can move equipment in and out. Our water access and electrical access behind is behind this section here that's already finished, and it was really important for us to have that protected before next winter. In the really cold 0-degree temperatures, we did have our water access freeze, and we had to haul it all the way from the house, which yes, can be done, but it definitely adds a lot more time, and it's very cold and challenging. So you do what you got to do, but if you could make it a little bit easier and more efficient, that definitely helps. So we're excited to finish getting this enclosed, and some of the sections are going to be halfway down. Like right here, you can see some of the framing is going in, and I'll take some videos later on, but it will have removable panels for the lower part so the cows can continue to get really good air ventilation 90 to 95% of the year, and then when it gets really frigid, we can close it in to protect them and give them better warmth. Then this summer, we're going to work on our interior gate system and expand the area that they have to be able to be inside the barn and clean out some of the stored equipment on the other side of the barn. So I'm sure I'll be taking more video footage of what all is changing and the ways that we're growing and expanding inside of here. So there's the entire barn finished. We're really excited. The 4 sections that only come down part way, there is a track that allows us to hang basically 4 panels and enclose as needed depending on what the weather is. So if we get a lot of snow, wind, rain situation that we know is coming in, we can hang them. They're not very heavy. Takes a couple people just because of the size of them, but weight-wise they're not difficult. And then we have a sliding door, and if the sliding door is kept closed, we can use the people door, but this is going to really improve our airflow and control of that to keep the animals warm and dry. So the chickens are enjoying the fact that it is a sunny day, and the rooster is letting us know that we should all be outside getting our exercise and saying hello. Here's the hens. This is kind of one of their winter paddocks, not getting a lot of green grass at this point just because of the weather and the fact that there is no green grass to be had in Ohio. So we make sure to throw them lots of fresh fruit and vegetable scraps, all organic, because it gives them something to do. You'll notice that there's some leftover gravel here. This allows them to kind of play around and peck for worms and other things that are living in the ground, but then they can get some natural grit as well. So one of the beauties of homesteading is continuing to learn, and that is one thing we definitely have done. So when we started, you can see in the background here the run-in shed. That is what we started with, and we used it for 4 beef cattle and 1 dairy cow. And then I'm going to kind of rotate here, and now you can see our larger barn that we have built as we've expanded the dairy cattle operation. So we have learned and grown, and was excited to show you the changes we made on the barn this week. And that's the beauty of homesteading. You just keep learning, you keep growing, and sometimes you change things, sometimes you add to them, sometimes you completely change what you're doing. But that's the realities of homesteading. And it doesn't mean that something is a failure. It just means that you have continued to grow and learn and find ways that work better for you and your family. Thanks for joining me on Real Life Homesteaders today. Hopefully you enjoyed going out to the barn with me. For those of you that haven't been watching long enough to know, we currently use our barn for our dairy cows. We have a herd of over 20 Jersey cows. So we do milk, and then we also raise them for the meat. So we are continuing to expand our housing area for the cattle and grow that. So I'm excited that you got to see some of our new plans for ventilation and control of airflow. Please make sure to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube, and then check out our website, Real Life Homesteaders, and plan to join us for our conference this year in September with multiple homesteader speakers. So be sure to go to reallifehomesteaders.com, and we'll see you again next week.